Incredible miracle now in Jerusalem, Jesus and an angel appear in the sky. This has been confirmed. In the ancient city of Jerusalem, an extraordinary event that no one would ever forget was about to happen. It was an ordinary day, and the sun was shining brightly over the stone rooftops, narrow streets, and the sacred temple. People were busy with their daily routines, merchants selling their goods, children playing in the streets, and scholars debating the scriptures. Suddenly, a murmur began to spread throughout the city. People looked up at the sky, pointing and exclaiming with surprise and admiration. "Look! Something is happening in the sky," shouted a man, drawing everyone's attention around him. In the clear blue sky, a bright and radiant figure appeared. People squinted, trying to see better. As the figure became clearer, everyone could see distinctly it was Jesus, with a resplendent light emanating from his entire being. Beside him, a majestic angel with enormous and shining wings floated serenely. Their celestial garments sparkled with divine lights, and their presences filled the air with an indescribable peace. The people of Jerusalem were ecstatic. Many fell to their knees, tears streaming down their faces, while others raised their hands to the sky in worship and gratitude. Words were unnecessary, the vision alone conveyed a message of love, hope, and renewal. Jesus, with a gentle smile, raised his hand and blessed the crowd. His voice, though not audible in the way we are accustomed to, echoed in the heart of each person present. "Peace be with you," he seemed to say. "I am with you, always." The angel beside Jesus also emanated a powerful presence. He held a golden trumpet, symbolizing God's divine message to men. Although he did not play the trumpet, his mere presence was a clear sign that God was watching over and caring for his people. As time passed, the vision of Jesus and the angel slowly began to dissolve in the sky. People remained where they were, feeling a deep peace and a renewed connection with the divine. The vision had lasted only a few minutes, but its impact on their hearts and souls would last forever. Soon, the news of the event spread throughout Jerusalem and beyond. Witnesses recounted and retold the story, each time with more details, like the light that radiated from Jesus and the splendor of the angel's wings. People from all over came to Jerusalem, hoping to feel a bit of the holiness that had touched the city. Religious authorities and scripture scholars also gathered to discuss the significance of the event. They consulted the sacred texts, seeking answers and trying to understand the divine message that had been conveyed. For many, it was clear that it was a sign that God would never abandon his people, and that even in the most difficult moments, his presence was a constant source of comfort and strength. This miracle in Jerusalem became a turning point for many. People's faith was renewed, and hope blossomed in their hearts. The stories of that day were passed down from generation to generation, reminding everyone that even in times of uncertainty, God's presence is a constant and powerful reality. And so, the story of the day Jesus and an angel appeared in the sky over Jerusalem remains alive, inspiring millions around the world to keep their faith and believe in the power of miracles. As the days passed, the story of the miracle spread to villages and cities beyond Jerusalem, reaching even the farthest corners of the region. People of all social classes and backgrounds were talking about what had happened. Curiosity and hope brought crowds to Jerusalem, hoping to capture some of the divine presence that had been witnessed there. Among those who heard the account was a man named Elijah, a simple shepherd who lived in the hills of Bethany. Elijah was a man of deep faith, but in recent years, his life had been marked by hardships. The drought had affected his pastures, and he struggled to support his family. The news of the miracle brought new hope to his heart. He decided he needed to go to Jerusalem to seek understanding and spiritual renewal. When Elijah arrived in the city, he was impressed by the atmosphere of reverence and peace that seemed to envelop everyone. He went to the temple, where he joined other pilgrims who shared their experiences and feelings about the miracle. Elijah met a wise elder named Simeon, who had dedicated his life to the study of the scriptures. Simeon listened attentively to Elijah's story and, with a deep and serene look, began to speak. "My friend," said Simeon, "what we witnessed here is a reminder of God's infinite love for us. The presence of Jesus and the angel showed us that, even in our moments of greatest difficulty, we are never alone. This sign is a call to renew our faith and trust in the divine plan." Elijah felt great peace upon hearing Simeon's words. He spent several days in Jerusalem, participating in prayers and meditations, and felt his faith being restored and strengthened. When he returned to Bethany, he was filled with new energy and purpose. He shared his experience with his family and friends, and together they began to rebuild their lives with renewed hope. The story of the miracle in Jerusalem continued to inspire many people. In synagogues and homes, families gathered to tell and retell the story, using it as a source of encouragement and faith. The children, although young, understood the importance of the event and carried it in their hearts as proof of divine care. In the city, religious leaders decided to record the event for future generations. Skilled scribes transcribed the detailed accounts of the testimonies, preserving every detail of the miracle. These records became part of the scriptures that would be read and studied for centuries. One of the greatest impacts of the miracle was the unity it brought to the people. Those who had been divided by social, cultural, and religious differences found common ground in their renewed faith. The memory of the miracle served as a unifying bond, promoting peace and cooperation among different communities. Over the years, many who visited Jerusalem sought the place where the miracle happened, hoping to feel the divine presence. And whenever someone told the story, there was a special sparkle in their eyes, a reflection of the hope and faith that had been renewed on that unforgettable day. Thus, the story of the incredible miracle in Jerusalem, where Jesus and an angel appeared in the sky, remained alive in the memory and hearts of the people as a beacon of faith that illuminated their lives, reminding them that, no matter the circumstances, God is always present, guiding and blessing his people. As the years passed, the memory of the miracle in Jerusalem not only remained alive but also became an annually celebrated event. People marked the date on their calendars and traveled from various parts of the world to be in Jerusalem on that special day. The city became a place of great celebration and devotion, with songs, prayers, and festivities filling the streets with joy. Among the many who returned year after year was a young woman named Miriam. She was only 5 years old when the miracle happened, and although she was too young to fully understand, the vision of Jesus and the angel had left a deep mark on her heart. As she grew, Miriam listened attentively to the stories told by her parents and grandparents, absorbing every detail and nurturing a solid and unwavering faith. Miriam was now the mother of 2 small children, and she made sure to take them to Jerusalem every year so they could experience the same sense of wonder and reverence she had felt. During one of these visits, she met a group of pilgrims from various parts of the world. Sharing their stories and experiences, Miriam realized the global impact of the miracle. It was a testament to how faith could unite people of all nations and cultures. That night, as the sky filled with stars, Miriam and her children joined a crowd on a hill on the outskirts of Jerusalem. With lit candles and songs of praise, the air was charged with a sacred atmosphere. Then something surprising happened. In the same sky where Jesus and the angel had appeared years ago, a soft light began to shine. People looked up, holding their breath. The light grew in intensity, forming a figure that, although not as clear as the original apparition, evoked a sense of peace and security. It was as if the very sky was reminding everyone of the divine promise to never abandon them. Miriam's children were enchanted. "Mom, is it Jesus again?" asked the youngest, his eyes shining with excitement. Miriam smiled and replied, "Yes, my dear. Jesus is always with us, and this light is a reminder of his love for us." In the days that followed, people talked about the new apparition, sharing their interpretations and reflections. For some, it was a sign that new times of blessings were coming. For others, it was a reaffirmation of God's commitment to his people. The religious leaders of Jerusalem gathered again, discussing the significance of the new event and how it fit into the prophecies and scriptures. They decided it was important to continue celebrating and honoring these apparitions, not only as miraculous events but as continuous reminders of the divine presence in their daily lives. Over time, the story of the incredible miracle in Jerusalem and the subsequent apparitions was woven into the cultural and spiritual fabric of the community. It became part of the oral and written traditions taught in schools and told on winter nights around the fireplaces. Pilgrims continued to come, not just in search of miracles but in search of spiritual renewal, a deeper connection with God and with their fellow humans. Each visit to Jerusalem was an opportunity to remember the miracle, renew promises of faith, and strengthen bonds of love and community. The story of Jesus and the angel in the sky over Jerusalem turned into a living legend, a beacon of hope that guided people on their spiritual journeys, always reminding them that, in any situation, they were never alone. As the decades passed, the story of the miracle in Jerusalem and the subsequent apparitions continued to inspire generations. The city became a universal symbol of faith and hope, attracting people from all parts of the world, from different religions and cultures, united by the desire to feel the divine presence and renew their hopes. Among the many visitors was a young man named Samuel. He had grown up hearing the stories told by his grandmother, who always spoke with emotion about the day Jesus and the angel appeared in the sky. Samuel, a dedicated student of the scriptures and aspiring rabbi, felt a deep desire to understand and experience what his grandmother and so many others had witnessed. On a cold winter morning, Samuel arrived in Jerusalem, his simple clothes contrasting with the vibrant brightness and activity of the city. He visited the holy sites, prayed at the temple, and conversed with scholars and elders who shared their knowledge and interpretations of the miraculous events. One night, during one of the many prayer vigils held in memory of the miracle, Samuel found himself on the same hill where Miriam and her children, years earlier, had witnessed the light in the sky. The wind blew softly, and the stars shone brightly, as if the very sky was waiting to reveal something grand. As the crowd sang hymns and prayed, a sense of tranquility took over the place. Suddenly, a soft and bright light began to appear on the horizon. Samuel, with a racing heart, watched the light expand and form a figure. Although not as clear as the original vision, the presence of Jesus and the angel was unmistakable. Samuel fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. He felt a deep peace, a direct connection with the divine that was indescribable. His grandmother's words echoed in his mind, "We are never alone. God is always with us." In that moment, Samuel fully understood the meaning of those words. Returning to his community, Samuel shared his experience with a passion and conviction that touched everyone. He became a respected rabbi, using his personal story to inspire others to seek a deeper connection with God. His message was clear: the divine presence was not something restricted to the past. It was alive and accessible to all who opened their hearts with faith. The years passed, and the tradition of pilgrimage to Jerusalem continued to grow. People of all ages and backgrounds came to experience the holiness of the place and renew their hopes. The city, already rich in history and spirituality, became an epicenter of renewed faith and global unity. Families continued to tell the story of the miracle to the next generations. Children grew up hearing about the day Jesus and an angel appeared in the sky, and how that vision had transformed lives and united hearts. These stories were passed down with love and reverence, keeping the flame of faith alive. On one of these storytelling nights, a young woman named Ruth heard the legend from her grandfather. Inspired by the story, she decided to dedicate her life to serving others, firmly believing that God's love and presence should be shared through actions. Ruth became a dedicated nurse, caring for the sick and needy, bringing hope and comfort wherever she went. Ruth's actions were a direct reflection of the miracle's message. The divine presence, manifested through love and compassion, had the power to transform the world. Her life became a living testimony of the miracle's continuity, showing that each person, through their acts of kindness and faith, could be a manifestation of God's love. Thus, the story of the miracle in Jerusalem continued to be a beacon of hope, inspiring people to live lives of faith, compassion, and unity. And, generation after generation, the city of Jerusalem remained an eternal symbol of the divine presence, reminding everyone that, no matter the circumstances, God is always present, guiding and blessing his people. While Ruth dedicated herself to caring for the needy, the story of the miracle in Jerusalem continued to inspire others to follow in her footsteps. The city, now a constant pilgrimage point, was the epicenter of a global community of faith. Among those drawn to Jerusalem was a young doctor named David, who had heard of Ruth's dedication and the impact of her work. David, moved by the desire to make a difference and inspired by the stories he had heard since childhood, decided he wanted to meet Ruth and learn from her. He traveled from his homeland to Jerusalem, full of enthusiasm and hope. Upon arrival, he was amazed by the city's spiritual vibrancy and the deep faith of the people he met. When he finally met Ruth, David found a woman of serene kindness and impressive inner strength. Ruth welcomed David with open arms, and the two quickly formed a partnership based on their shared desire to serve others. Together, they opened a small clinic near the temple where they provided free medical care to anyone in need. The clinic quickly became a symbol of hope in the community. The stories of the miracle in Jerusalem were often shared among patients and volunteers, reminding everyone of the divine presence and the importance of love and compassion. Ruth and David not only healed physical ailments but also offered spiritual comfort, reinforcing their patients' faith and hope. One night, while Ruth and David were at the clinic reviewing the day's events, an old man entered carrying an ancient scroll. He introduced himself as Ezekiel, a guardian of ancient scriptures, and told them a fascinating story about Jesus' lineage and the role of angels as divine messengers. Ezekiel explained that he had dedicated his life to preserving these stories and felt it was time to pass them on. Intrigued, Ruth and David listened attentively as Ezekiel unrolled the scroll and read aloud passages describing the apparitions of Jesus and angels throughout history. He emphasized how each apparition served as a reminder of God's promise to never abandon his people and to always be present in times of need. These stories, preserved for generations, gained new life in Ruth and David's clinic. They decided to incorporate these lessons into their daily work, using them to inspire and encourage their patients. The clinic's walls were adorned with paintings and inscriptions of the miracles, transforming the space into a place of healing for both body and soul. News about the clinic and its spiritual practices soon spread, attracting volunteers from various parts of the world who wished to contribute their time and skills. Among the new volunteers was Sarah, a talented artist who used her gift to create murals on the clinic walls, depicting scenes from the miracles and messages of hope. Her art became a source of inspiration for everyone who saw it, a visual representation of the divine presence witnessed in Jerusalem. As time passed, the clinic grew and expanded, becoming a community center where people gathered not only to receive medical care but also to participate in prayer groups, Bible studies, and other spiritual activities. Ruth and David organized annual events in memory of the miracle, inviting people to share their stories and renew their faith. On one of these occasions, during the celebration of the miracle's anniversary, something extraordinary happened. As the community gathered for a nighttime vigil, an intense and bright light appeared in the sky. People looked up, their hearts filled with expectation and reverence. The figure of Jesus and the angel once again formed in the sky, bringing a message of peace and hope. The vision, though brief, reinforced everyone's faith. Ruth, with tears in her eyes, thanked God for his continued presence and renewed her commitment to serving the community. David, by her side, felt a new strength and determination, knowing they were on the right path. The apparitions in the sky over Jerusalem continued to be a beacon of hope, reminding everyone that the divine presence was always with them. Ruth and David's clinic became a symbol of this promise, a place where love and compassion were lived out daily and where every person, regardless of their background, could find healing and hope. And so, the story of the miracle in Jerusalem continued to live in the hearts and actions of those touched by its message. Generation after generation, people found inspiration in this story, uniting in faith and hope, and spreading divine love wherever they went. The city of Jerusalem, with its rich tapestry of miracles and faith, remained an eternal reminder that, no matter the circumstances, God is always present, guiding and blessing his people. The story of the miracle in Jerusalem, where Jesus and an angel appeared in the sky, became a living legend, passed down from generation to generation, transforming lives and uniting hearts around the world. Each apparition and each testimony served as powerful reminders of God's promise to never abandon his people, regardless of the circumstances. The city of Jerusalem, already rich in history and spirituality, became a global symbol of faith, hope, and renewal. Pilgrims from all corners of the earth came to feel the divine presence and be inspired by the stories that continued to be told with love and reverence. Ruth, David, and all those who were touched by the miracle dedicated their lives to spreading the message of love and compassion. The clinic they built was not just a place of physical healing but also a spiritual sanctuary where people found comfort and renewal of faith. As the years went by, many other miracle stories emerged, each adding a new layer of hope to Jerusalem's spiritual tapestry. And in each story, the essence of the original miracle remained, a reminder that God is always present, guiding and blessing his people. In every whispered prayer, in every act of kindness, and in every heart filled with hope, the spirit of the miracle continued to live. Jerusalem, with its ancient streets and sacred temples, remained a beacon of faith, inspiring millions to believe in the power of the divine and to live lives of love and compassion. And so, the story of the miracle in Jerusalem, where Jesus and an angel appeared in the sky, will never be forgotten. It continues to resonate in the hearts of the faithful, reminding everyone that, no matter how dark the world may seem, the light of the divine presence always shines, guiding us to better and brighter days. The story has become an eternal legacy, a beacon of hope that lights the way for all who seek God's presence in their lives.